Hey guys, what's up? V8 Merc here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a 1911, not just any 1911. This here is a 9mm 1911. It's made by Recoil and Armory. This is the tactical version. Of course, it's already got a few upgrades to it. I didn't do the upgrades myself. I actually purchased this firearm used due to some complications we have here in California with a roster of certain safe handguns, and that roster still exists. However, there was a way to get guns off the roster if they were single shot exempt. There's probably a ton of videos about that, so I won't get into it. But it basically came down to me not being able to own an affordable 1911 and 9mm because it would be harder after the first of this year to purchase one. So I purchased it used, and I picked it up for about $650 or something like that, but it came with a bunch of extras and stuff. It came with almost $300 or $400 in extras, including 4 Wilson Combat magazines here, and you know, obviously the flared grip, the flared housing down here, and I think it's stainless steel, and there's a couple other things in here that's changed out, including this nice fiber optic sight. Really helps you get on target. I don't want to do a review video so much on the 1911 type gun because everybody and their mom has done one. So what I'm going to do is basically talk to you guys about owning a 9mm 1911 and how fun it is actually, which is what I'm going to start off with saying. This gun is awesome to shoot, and let's go ahead and take some more shots here instead of just talking the whole time. All right, hopefully you guys can see how much recoil this gun has, almost none. The reason for that is that it weighs in at almost about 2.5 pounds unloaded, and they're saying around 3 pounds loaded. I think the exact specs are 1.14 kilograms for the unloaded weight, and then 1.43 for the loaded weight. I don't know how accurate those figures are, but that's what they're claiming in the book. And going to give it a couple more rounds here. It's getting actually kind of dark, so I'm going to try to keep this going here. And hopefully you guys can see the recoil on this gun and how light it is. I'm going to try to I'm going to only shoot that green target right there and see how fast I can do it. I'm not really a good handgun shooter, but I'll give it a shot. I think that was close to, 8 or 9 shots that'll hit. We're back here at about 20-25 yards. I don't usually shoot closer than that because of the steel. I do know that people shoot much closer than that when they go to the ranges and stuff, but I find it more useful to train yourself to shoot at greater distances, because when you get closer, you'll have no problem hitting your target. These targets, by the way, are 12 by 12 AR 500 steel targets. The first three on the left are the 12 by 12s, and I think the one on the far right is I think that's a 10 by 10 probably. So, and today we're shooting some Wolf Performance ammo. This is the, oh my bad, it's actually the Military Classics. I just picked up some of this stuff. I actually never used it before. And if you're wondering, this gun here I think had over 1,000 rounds on it when I got it, which wasn't too much of a concern because I like shooting my guns and I don't like to keep them in the safe. So it's been thoroughly broken in. The guy before me actually used it for competition shooting, and he showed me some of the videos when I was buying it from him, and he was doing really well with it, and I could see why, because that weight to this handgun, it really keeps that muzzle down and allows you to shoot pretty fast with it. And that's probably the best thing I can tell you guys about this gun, is that you're going to have an awesome time shooting this gun. You will not go wrong getting a 9mm 1911, regardless of whatever the 1911 purists say and whatever they tell you, that you got to go 45 and all that nonsense. I mean, it's not nonsense, it's just their opinion, and I just want to share my opinion that it's actually a really good gun to have. Something in 9mm with a lot of weight to it. You're going to have a better hit I guess ratio, hits per shots fired, because the gun is going to help soak up some of that recoil, even though there isn't that much to 9mm. I think this here is weighing at, these are 115 grains, so these are kind of lighter. but it's a really nice, comfortable gun to shoot. The 1911 type guns are really nice and comfortable to shoot in general. Of course, this one's got the ambidextrous safety, so I use that to put my thumb on there, as well as this mainspring housing here is a little bit larger, so that helps. And including this flared magwell right here, my pinky actually comes down here and it sits on there, so it's really nice. It aids obviously in mag changes. I don't need it, but it came with it and it kind of looks nice. So I'm going to keep that like the way it is. But overall, really nice gun to shoot. 9mm 1911 is just awesome. Awesome gun. So let's go ahead and shoot the smaller one. All right, I don't know how many I hit on that one. It looked like I hit a good amount there. But you guys can see that you can start shooting faster and faster with this gun because that weight really helps a lot. And you're hearing me say it already, you know, there's just so much weight to it that it helps. Now, being that's a little heavier, I mean, you can carry it right here. I got my, see if you guys can actually see it here. I got my paddle holster right there. Let's make sure it's empty. We're good. So I have that nice paddle holster. I really like this holster. Keeps it nice and secure, and the button allows me to draw it quickly. Awesome holster to have, I think, for any gun. That's just a side note, but just showing you guys what kind of holster I'm running with here. So, but overall, being that it's heavier, what I was trying to get at is that when you have it on your hip, it doesn't feel like, you know, you're weighing down to one side or anything like that. It actually feels really comfortable. And I think if you're going to be carrying the gun, that we're getting into a whole nother issue and whatnot. Maybe you need to look at getting a lighter gun because you're actually going to be concealed carrying it. So that's, you know, a whole separate thing. What I'm trying to come from, where I'm coming from, is actually more from a range standpoint, having fun, you know, going to the range and plinking and whatnot, and using it as a nice target gun or something like that. So that's where I think this gun actually has a good fit for somebody like that who wants to do those kinds of things. If you're looking for home defense, look, any gun that shoots a bullet is pretty good for home defense, let me put it that way, because a high velocity projectile flying through the air, hitting an assailant, it's going to do some damage, you know, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. Now, if you're wondering about hollow points, which I'm pretty sure somebody's going to ask, how does it function with hollow points? Well, let me show you a couple rounds here. I actually do keep, this is one of the guns that I keep by my bed, and here's what's happened to a round when I tried chambering it. It actually jammed the bullet into there a little bit because the feed ramp didn't allow for it to really go in, and it caused the bullet to nosedive and then jam the bullet in. Now this round is dangerous to fire in my opinion because you know you've changed the overall length, you've actually changed the internal case capacity, and you can get a little mini grenade going off in there. And so it's not safe to shoot, but I'm keeping these as like a teaching tool. So that's happened to two of the hollow point rounds here. And I discovered the reason for that. And the reason is that these full metal jacket rounds, they tend to go to the end of the magazine. When I mean the end, all the way up to the front. And then the hollow points are slightly shorter, I think. And what happens is when they go, when the slide is coming forward and pushing this round towards the chamber, into the chamber, because there's a little bit less material on the front, it doesn't really hit the feed ramp and actually kind of nosedives. So what I found, actually it's very interesting, I found this, is that if I take the mag and I load it with hollow points and I tap it on a surface like this, I get all the rounds to go to the front. And then I insert the magazine, I can rack the gun, and I'll never have that problem where the bullet, you know, nosedives and, you know, smashes on the hollow point. Now I've discovered that, right? I noticed that that's what it's doing, and that's how to fix the problem. However, here, now that you've heard what I said, would I recommend someone to use hollow points in this gun and use it for home defense? Honestly, probably not, because if you have that small, slim chance that could happen, that could decommission you for a couple, for maybe a couple seconds, and it takes some time for you to register. Oh, I need to rack that, get that round out of there, and do it again. And if you keep having that problem, that's not good. So I'm not going to say I recommend it for home defense standpoint, but that doesn't mean it won't work. You can use full metal jackets. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little bit more shooting here. Getting a little winded speaking to you guys. I always forget when I shot all 10 rounds because normally I shoot 5 to help me do magazine changes and whatnot and train myself how to change mags on this gun. What we're going to do here is kind of switch up gears a little bit. We're going to get some reactive targets, and they're actually going to be sodas, so give me a second to do that and I'll load up as well. All right, so we got a few sodas down there. Let's see what happens. I actually haven't shot this gun on any paper target yet, so I really don't know exactly where it's hitting. So we'll find out right now. Just because when you shoot the steel, you got a 12 by 12 plate, so you're gonna hit the steel, but you don't know exactly where you hit. So looks like that third one just got knocked over. That's really hard to tell where I'm hitting. You guys probably will be able to see, but I won't. Plus it's getting dark here. There you go, looks like I put them all in. Let's go ahead and shoot at some steel now. I don't know if you guys caught that, looks like I saw some sparks there. Now as far as the quality of the Rock Island 1911, if you're wondering, it does have some machining marks on the lower frame itself. Nothing really to be concerned about. Most of the stuff is really like cosmetic. If you notice the finish on this gun, it's kind of got a bluing, blackening kind of deal on it. It's not really painted, it's not Cerakoted or whatever the factory finish is. Because the previous owner, I guess, he wore it out a lot, holstering it and stuff, training, and so he refinished it with some bluing, blackening agent. So that's why it looks kind of weird. But the steel itself has a few machining marks down on the frame. The slide is, it's in good shape. Doesn't have really any sharp edges or anything to the gun itself. Overall, it's really nice and comfortable. When I refinish it, I'm probably going to go through and sand it down and get it really nice. I'm going to prep the metal real good before I refinish it, which I plan on doing soon. You guys also noticed that it has the Springfield Armory grips on there. The only reason they're there is because I like the wood grips, and the previous owner had taken off the logo, so it really didn't make a difference what grips I put on there, but I was going for the wood grips and whatnot. So, as far as quality-wise, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. If you're trying to get it as a shooter, it's good. I mean, the factory finish is nicer than whatever this finish is, and if I had bought it brand new, I probably wouldn't have messed with it, but that's the way it came, so that's what I'm working with. So that's just a few words on the quality of this 1911. And here's a few more rounds I had laying around in that box. Just give some final thoughts on the gun and what I was trying to get at about how this gun's a really good range toy. And if you're thinking about getting a 9mm 1911, you won't go wrong, to be honest with you. They're just nothing really bad to say about it, just the weight, if that's a concern for you. Maybe one thing I want to point out for maybe a female shooter or somebody who's probably just getting into it, I'm just assuming that this so-called female shooter is probably not into firearms as much as you are, and I would say the majority of my viewers are probably males. And if they're looking to get into it, this gun will really be nice to shoot for them, someone who's new to firearms, because it's heavier. It's going to help with that recoil. Now, being that it's heavier, it might be harder for them to actually hold it for a long period of time, but it's going to have a less felt recoil because of that weight. And I'm just going to say that if you can hit your target more often, you're going to enjoy shooting, or maybe the person, whoever it is, they're going to enjoy shooting, and they're more likely to come out and shoot more with you, or in general, they'll probably be more likely to get into the sport, you know. So that's probably something you maybe want to think about. The 1911 9mm, it's an awesome gun. You cannot go wrong with it, regardless what people are saying. This gun has been reliable. I think it's about 7 months since I've gotten it, and I've got about 600 rounds or so through it. Myself, I think this was about the 600, hit about 600 rounds right about now, and never had any failures or anything like that with it whatsoever. Awesome thing. One of the best recommendation upgrades is probably a fiber optic sight. Again, if you're using it as a range toy. All right, guys. So that's the video for you guys today. Just a quick thing on a 9mm 1911. If you guys have any comments or questions, please put that down below in the comment section. I do try to answer those. Other than that, that's the video for you guys today. V8 Merc, signing out.